Tool, do you know what this hearing is about?
Judge, my notice just says notice. I have not gotten any motions or memorandums or case law. I'm clueless. I'm as much in the dark as Your Honor is.
Miss Cowden, do you know where your lawyer is?
Your Honor, I haven't seen Mr. Sullivan since I paid him $10,000. I was just trying to have a motion to set aside final judgment. I thought that's why we were here today.
Well, at least Mr. Sullivan's client is here and on time and seems to know what we are here for. We'll wait another 5 seconds.
Yeah, did you see that game last night? That was incredible. Sorry, Judge.
Well, Mr. Sullivan, I'm so glad you decided to grace us with your presence. You are 15 minutes late for your own hearing.
I'm so sorry. I must have got the notice wrong. Well, actually, no, Judge. I had a flat tire on the way to court today, and that's why I'm late. I'm real sorry about that.
What is this hearing about, Mr. Sullivan? Your notice is rather vague.
Well, Judge, it's actually very simple. It's a motion to set aside a final judgment. I have a copy of the motion, Judge. I have a copy for the court, Your Honor. Basically, Judge, it's real simple. I can summarize it for you in 5 seconds. Basically, Judge, my client... Oh, Judge, I forgot I had some evidence before I get into that I need to introduce. It's a little unorganized, but the clerk knows what she's doing. Oh, I'll get that later, Judge. It's not that important. So basically, Judge, you pretty much have to vacate the judgment and grant my motion for my client. I'm sorry, Judge. That's my cell phone. Honey? Yeah, I'm in the middle of court. Get milk tonight? Okay, I'll get it. Judge, I'm sorry about that. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, Judge, my client should win this motion. It's a no-brainer. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Sullivan, while I'm thoroughly impressed with your presentation, it might help the court if you cited some case law in favor of your position.
Oh, case law. Oh, you're right, Judge. I have some cases. Oh, yeah, here's a case, Judge. This is it right here. This case is right on point, Judge. It's from 1932, Florida Supreme Court. Doesn't get any better than this case right here, Judge. You, Mr. O'Toole, have to acknowledge it. This is the case of Westinghouse versus Manning, Judge. It pretty much says, it's right on point to my case, it pretty much says that my client has to win. I would give the court a copy of the case law and Mr. O'Toole a copy, but I'm sure you're familiar with it, and I didn't really bring an extra copy for either of you, so I'm sorry about that.
Counselor, are you talking about Westinghouse v. Manning?
Yeah, Supreme Court.
Westinghouse v. Manning, Your Honor, was overruled by our Supreme Court in the year 1990. There are at least 4 or 5 cases out of the 2nd District that say it is no longer good law. Perhaps, I hate to burst Mr. Sullivan's bubble here today, but had he clicked that little red flag on his computer or taken the time to shepherdize this case, we could have all saved a lot of time.
Well, Judge, I don't know what to say about that. I guess I'll have to trust Mr. O'Toole. But if you could give me a couple more weeks, Judge, continuance of this hearing, I'm sure I could get some case law for you.
No, I'm sorry. You've wasted enough of our time. Your motion is denied with extreme prejudice.
Judy? Hey, this is Angela Cowden from the State Attorney's Office. Listen, I need to schedule a hearing on a motion in limine. And I need about an hour. You don't have anything that long for 2 months? Oh, what am I thinking? I only need 10 minutes. Next week? Oh, sure. Oh, great. Oh, listen, thanks, Judy. I really, really appreciate it. 10 minutes? No problem. I can talk really fast. And if I go long, what's the big deal anyway?
All right, next case is State versus Jones. Ms. Cowden, your notice says 10 minutes. Let's begin. I have a crowded docket today.
As you can see from my motion, this is a rather complex issue, and in order to properly educate the court, I need to explain a few things to the court about this particular area of law. Then I'll need to call some witnesses. I have 25 under subpoena, and they're outside.
25 witnesses. Did you say 25 witnesses for a 10-minute hearing?
Well, in the interest of time, I can probably whittle that down to 18 or so, Judge. To begin with, this case deals with a scheme to defraud involving multiple victims, and the state intends to prove that the defendant, Mr. Jones, well, scammed them, for lack of a better term. So, Judge, I think it's pretty simple, actually. Now, I need to call my first witness. The state would call Sue Martin. Ms. Martin, please approach.
Raise your right hand and be sworn. Solemnly swear affirm testimony you give this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Ms. Martin, will you please state your name for the record?
Sue Martin.
So, Ms. Martin, blah, 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 blah,
Jeff, what is going on here? I got a 10:30 hearing and I gotta sit and listen to this stuff?
10:30? Good luck, I had a 10:15. She's been going on for a half an hour with this crap. This is unbelievable.
I got much, much better things to do than sit around and listen to this.
Yeah, you and me both. I gotta get down to Sebring. This is crazy.
Judge, that's the state's position. Based on all my legal arguments and all of my witnesses, I would ask you to grant my motion in oh my goodness. It's almost 11 o'clock. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Judge.
And this will be the last time that I will permit you to go on for an hour on a hearing that you have scheduled for 10 minutes. From this day forward, I'm going to instruct my assistant every time you call my office to set, I don't care whether it's an hour hearing, you're going to have 2 hours on the docket, and you will not get a clear time until we have 2 hours to give you. This is not acceptable on your part. You knew very well when you made that phone call this was more than a 10-minute hearing. It's not acceptable behavior. The court will not forget it. Well, you both had persuasive arguments, but it is the ruling of the court that Ms. Cowden's motion should be granted. Thank you both. Court is in recess.
Judge, wait, 1 second. We need to go through this again. There is clearly an issue of fact here. My client has paid me a lot of money for a jury trial.
The court understood your argument, and the court has ruled against you, sir.
Judge, I'm a trial lawyer. I'm supposed to get a trial. My client needs a trial in this case, and you're always ruling against me.
Mr. O'Toole. Please, sir. The court is in recess.
Come on, Judge, you always do this.
Mr. O'Toole, this court is in recess. This matter is over.
Judge, can't we talk about it a little more?
Mr. O'Toole, this matter is over.
Judge, please, come on.
If necessary, I'll show you the jail cell, sir.
Where's the judge? This hearing was supposed to start 5 minutes ago.
Glad you could join us, John. We were all here except for you. The judge went back to her chambers.
I was only a few minutes late. What, she back there putting on makeup or something?
I don't know about that, but I'll go tell the bailiff that we're all set.
All rise, please.
Mr. Aguero, thank you for joining us. Let's proceed.
Sorry about the inconvenience, Judge. I've been a lawyer in this circuit for 20 years, and I have yet to run across a motion as worthless as the one filed by Mr. Sullivan here. Hey, you did graduate from law school, didn't you? This is a waste of time. I'm a busy man. I don't have time for some new lawyer's motion here that doesn't make any sense.
Mr. Aguero, please let Mr. Sullivan speak.
Thank you, Your Honor. My motion, as I know the court has had a chance to review, I believe it's very meritorious. I've cited several cases for the court's benefit.
Case law? Now we're going to get into case law?
Counsel, do not interrupt Mr. Sullivan when he is speaking to the court, sir.
Well, there was a time before we wouldn't be wasting our time doing this kind of stuff, but, well, you're the judge. If you want to listen to his stuff, go ahead.
The evidence has shown that Mr. Sullivan's client is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Ha!
The state's witnesses were credible and their testimony was uncontroverted.
Oh, please.
One witness told you about the defendant's scheme to defraud, about how he would meet the witness at her office and he would tell her about this great investment idea. Judge, I need to object to Mr. Sullivan's unprofessional and undignified noises at counsel table.
Objection sustained, Mr. Sullivan. Let's cease the sound effects. Please continue your closing.
Thank you, Your Honor. You may recall Mr. Sullivan's star witness. What a joke. I wouldn't believe this witness if he told me it was dark out at 11 o'clock at night. And the guy made Pinocchio seem like a novice. And talking about liars. Look, Mr. Sullivan and his so-called defense. Honestly, what he tried to tell you about his client was pure cow manure. You have to watch these scumbag defense lawyers. They'll try any trick in the book just to pull the wool over your eyes. Don't fall for it. His client is guilty. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan, closing argument.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the scumbag defense attorney. Look at this prosecutor. She paraded all these witnesses in front of you. Not one of them told you the truth. They're all a bunch of liars. Angela herself, she's a poor excuse for a human being. All she cares about is getting a conviction.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. Just argue the facts and evidence, Mr. Sullivan. And please do not refer to opposing counsel by her first name. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the lawyers are not on trial here.
Please, Judge, she's the one that started this.
I did not.
You did too.
I did not.
You did too.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Right, the both of you. You are worse than my children. 10-minute timeout for both of you.
I knew it'd end up in here, Angela. This is all your fault.
No, it's not. It's your fault.
It's
Jeffrey.
your fault.
Oh, you really make me mad. I can't believe we're here. You had kept your mouth shut.
Me, you're the one that was arguing, calling me
You
names.
started it.
You're the one that started it.
No, wait a minute. You're the one that started it, and the judge has sustained my objection. She had to make you shut up.
It was all you. Well,
No,
we're gonna be here
it
all
wasn't.
weekend now.
Oh,